It's a slightly better day on the markets. The bubbles are looking much greener today. And I think there's two big reasons why the bubbles are looking greener today. The first one is obvious. It's the crypto summit that's happening at the White House tomorrow. What you can see is that any token that is even vaguely related to the crypto summit tomorrow is starting to be green, right? That's the first reason why the markets are going up. Now, the truth is, I think that if you're trading based on this crypto summit, you have to trade very, very, very carefully because you may get wrecked and you may get disappointed. That's if you're trading around the crypto summit. There is another reason why the markets are turning up today. And this reason, I do believe, is a very, very, very pertinent, very important reason. And in fact, it's so important that it actually made me a lot less stressed and a lot more bullish about the entire situation. So we're going to cover both reasons why the markets are going up. I'm going to show you why you may be disappointed by the crypto summit, but the other one, the next one, definitely won't disappoint you. So now listen, if that sounds good to you, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel, obliterate the like button. I'll do the rest. Let's get the show on the road. Everywhere I go today, it's like, bro, what do you think about the crypto summit? Should we be buying XRP ahead of the crypto summit? Should we be buying this token ahead of the crypto summit? I think that a lot of people are going to get wrecked by this crypto summit, and we've got to discuss it because right now a lot of people are making a lot of trading and investment decisions just based on the summit alone, and I think that they're going to be disappointed. I'm going to show you exactly why. But there is another reason why the markets are actually going up. And I'll tell you that one is actually super exciting and maybe even sustainable for quite a long term. And I think that's the one that's going to be really amazing. So we're going to talk about both of them. We're going to have some fun here today. We're going to take a general look at the markets. We're going to bash Josh, we're going to bash the researchers because we do that every single day, and we're just going to have a whole lot of fun. The researchers are also now bashing Josh, and Josh is bashing the researchers. A lot of stuff going on here. Anyway, so if that sounds good to you, obliterate the like button. I'm going to show you why I think that tomorrow, or specifically anyone who is trading around tomorrow, is making a big mistake, right? Because what we're starting to see as it relates to the summit is we're starting to see something very, very, very interesting. You see all the big green candles today, all the big green bubbles that are today? 99% of those are linked to people attending the summit. Let me show you. Let me give you an example. So this is crypto.com, right? This bubble has gone up 13% today, right? I've confirmed that crypto.com CEO Chris will be attending the White House Crypto Summit. Okay, now watch this. Here's another one for you. Sui up 14%. And bang! We're excited to announce a partnership with World Liberty Fire, Donald J. Trump inspired. This is all people trading around the summit. Move was around World Liberty Fire increasing the exposure to Move. Render is around speculation that Jules, it's not even speculation, I think that Jules is actually going to be attending the summit tomorrow, right? Link is because of Sergey Nazarov actually attending the summit tomorrow. So what you can see now is that this market is literally trading on who is going to the summit and who is not going to the summit. And the best person I think to follow in that regard is just keep following Eleanor Terrett, because I think she's the one who's doing the greatest job in terms of keeping us updated in terms of who's going and who's not going. She's updating really, really, really fast. Okay, so Brian Armstrong, okay, he's attending. We've known he's attended. Okay, so just keep watching her account here, because she's going to show you who's attending and who's basically not attending. And as they attend, so the bubbles will pop. There is one person that, well, hold on a second. Let's just quickly, do we have an ADA bubble? We do have an ADA bubble. I know we have one, but I just want to just see something. There's one person that seems to potentially not have been invited. Let's just want to make sure. We'll probably find a red bubble. Yes, indeed. As you can see, Cardano is down 4.03% today. And I think it's because of this video over here. I think that it's because of this video. I'm also in a couple of groups with Charles and people from Cardano, and I think this is actually true.
We did not get an invitation on Monday. We did not get an invitation on Tuesday. We did not get an invitation today on Wednesday. So I'm going to operate under the assumption I have not been invited to go to this gathering. It's a 4-hour gathering at the White House. I guess the president's speaking. It's going to be a roundtable. I don't imagine much policy work will be done.
So it looks like Charles is not invited, or maybe just his invitation hasn't arrived yet. I did speak to some other founders. I spoke to the founders of 𝗬𝗎. They actually are going. They're going. They are actually going to the thing. There's a lot of other founders that are going, but it looks like, unfortunately, Charles isn't going to this one, or maybe he will be invited last month. We can't write it off. I mean, after all, we have to give Charles the respect that he deserves. Number one, he is American. Number two, he is one of the founders of Ethereum. Number three, say what you like, Cardano is amazing technology. The fact that it's not used, we'll save that debate for another time. But in terms of technology, you can't flaw the technology that Charles has done, and also you cannot flaw the contribution that Charles has made to this industry as a whole. He's been one of the OGs that has actually been around here. And yeah, he has actually been fighting for a long time to get Bitcoin accepted by the USA, to get smart contracts recognized by the USA. He was a big proponent around Wisconsin and Wyoming and all of those things. So I do think that if they have omitted him from the list, that's quite quite intentional, quite notable that he's not there. But anyway, for now, that's what we are hearing. I think anybody that is trading around the strategic reserve for tomorrow is also going to get a massive disappointment, right? And the reason why I said that is because even the sponsor of the strategic reserve bill doubts that this bill can actually launch soon. Why? Because it lacks bipartisan backing. Loomis's Bitcoin-only bill stalled in the committee. Key Republicans are calling for delays over the funding concerns. There's no way that they are announcing the mechanics of a strategic reserve. They may talk about a strategic reserve. They may talk about how it happens. But even the most bullish people in the world, even Michael Saylor, says...
Everybody's dying to know about the summit and what they think is going to be announced. How do you think this crypto reserve will be financed?
Well, I think that there's a 6-month process that's been laid out by the executive order, and I think the president was fairly deliberate in that. There are 12 members on the Presidential Working Committee. There'll be involvement from the industry, there'll be involvement from the Senate and from the House, and it's above my pay grade to decide how it is determined, but the Loomis bill has laid out the idea of acquiring Bitcoin strategically over 4 years, just consistently day by day in order to reach a million Bitcoin target.
Okay, the government has 200,000 Bitcoin, as I understand it. We equal about 17 billion at today's prices. So to get up there, they would have to purchase Bitcoin, right? So as the government purchases these Bitcoin and other tokens, what is that going to do to the price? I mean, supply goes down, the price goes up?
Well, the most responsible thing would be to go slow and steady and deliberate with clear telegraphing and transparency so that the real key about Bitcoin is for people to understand that it's digital property. It's a savings account that empowers every single American to save their wealth and preserve it over time.
Now, you may be asking
Everybody's
why...
dying to know
you may
about
be asking,
the summit and what
you may be asking why I let that clip run for so long. And I'll tell you why I let that clip run for so long. Because the last time that I interrupted Michael Saylor on a show, he said, "Don't interrupt me, Ron." What did he say exactly? He said... So that's why I let that clip play until the very end, in case even on that clip, he would jump out at me and say, "Don't interrupt me, Ron." Anyway, so if you're trading around the strategic reserve ain't being announced tomorrow, that is for sure. They may start talking around the structure of it. They may start talking about funding ideas and stuff like that. But the one thing I can assure you is that they're not announcing the fact that tomorrow the strategic reserve is being announced. And the only way that they would announce it is if the person who was in charge of the strategic reserve, which is, of course, Cynthia Loomis, kind of knew exactly what was going on. And right now, she's saying that it's not about to happen. All right. That is what we can expect from the summit tomorrow. But now, there is a lot of politics happening around the summit. Okay, so here's some politics for you. You know, like every big meeting with big people always has big politics, right? So let's talk about some of the politics ahead of the summit. First thing is, as we said, Charles wasn't invited. And I've bashed Charles and Cardano a few times here for not being used as much as a blockchain of that valuation can be used. But there's one place that I definitely cannot bash Charles. And that is how pivotal, how instrumental he has been for Bitcoin and blockchain in the United States. So that is something that even no matter how much you love, hate Cardano, I don't really care. Omitting Charles from a gathering like this is just simply unacceptable. But then there's another piece of politics. And the piece of politics here says that the Ripple guys, namely Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larsen, actually pitched Solana to be part of the National Strategic Reserve in order to make the inclusion of XRP seem more legitimate. So remember there was that tweet that came out, or it was a post from Truth Social where Trump said, it's going to be XRP, it's going to be Solana, and it's going to be ADA. So there is speculation. And when I say speculation, I mean, I know Laurish, and she's been a long-time friend, and she was one of the first credible reporters in crypto. And she is now reporting, she's got a podcast and a newsletter called Unchained, and she says, how did Ripple sell Trump on XRP in a crypto reserve? By pushing Solana. So what she says here, it says, Ripple executives, including CEO Brad Garlinghouse and Chief Legal Officer 𝗙𝗛𝗢𝗓, reportedly pitched President Trump to include Solana in the crypto reserve plan announced on Sunday to give it more legitimacy amongst the crypto community. According to two sources familiar with the matter, the inclusion of Sol also helped Ripple convey that it was advocating for a crypto reserve that included several American tokens. Okay, so now this is Ripple Labs, which uses the which issues the token XRP, has been criticized for years as a largely speculative asset with insufficient usage to justify its huge $145 billion market cap. However, if the aim was, if that was the aim, the plan was unsuccessful, as the public announcement was still met with ridicule amongst the crypto community, right? So this is some of the politics that's going on. Ripple, or XRP, or Ripple, allegedly tried to pitch Trump the idea that we should have this all-American thing by saying you should add Sol. Only thing is, when you go to Sol, you go to the Solana founder, 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗥, and he says, look, my order of preference is, first of all, I don't want the reserve at all. Like, I don't want a reserve at all. Because the reserve means that if you want decentralization to fail, you'd put the government in charge of it. And I agree when this goes around proof of stake tokens, obviously not around proof of work tokens. Why? Because when you're dealing with proof of work tokens, the number of tokens that you hold, the number of Bitcoin tokens that you hold, doesn't make any difference as to which way the Bitcoin miners respond, right? The Bitcoin miners decide which way to vote, right? The Bitcoin miners are the only ones that you vote. So no matter how many Bitcoin you own, you cannot vote on the network. When it comes to proof of stake tokens, where you basically take your tokens and you stake them to become a validator, the more tokens you have, the more power you have to validate the blocks. That's what happens with proof of stake, right? And so I think Anatoly's right. He says, look, number one, no reserve at all. Or if you're going to have a reserve, let the states run their own reserve as a hedge to this one big entity, like this big government controlling blockchain. He says, well, if there has to be a reserve, it's based on objectively measuring requirements. I don't care what they are. They can be constructed such that only Bitcoin satisfies them right now. They must just be objectively measurable and just. And so basically, Ripple tries to pitch Solana. Solana says, hold on a second, we don't even want this reserve, or we think this reserve is an absolutely bad idea. And so that's what's pretty much going on at the moment, right? And so we also see World Liberty Fi, which is doing something very interesting. Ahead of the summit, what they're doing is they are just buying up ETH. In fact, it's not only ETH, it's Movement Labs, and it's Sui. And I think I've unraveled what World Liberty Fi is doing. In fact, I don't think I've unraveled it. I know I've unraveled it. And very, very, very soon, I'm going to actually make a show to show you exactly what's going on here. Okay, because I think I've unraveled. I know exactly what's going on here. I can't do it on today's show because I think there's too much going on here. Anyway, they announced get this announcement. This is a genius announcement. President Trump's World Liberty Fi Financial partners with Sui to launch a strategic Sui reserve. Okay, now, I don't know how they are launching. As part of this collaboration, World Liberty Fi will include Sui in their strategic reserve. Okay, amazing. So I understand exactly what's going on here, and very soon I actually will make a show on exactly what's going on here. And you'll understand exactly how World Liberty Fi has actually been doing it. The good thing is that I think sanity has prevailed, and sanity in this case is saying that Bitcoin and altcoins will be treated differently. It's the same thing that Howard Lutnick said. He said there will be difference. So Bitcoin is one thing, and then the other currencies and the other tokens will be something completely different, positively but differently. And what I'm hearing, what my sources are telling me, is that there will be a Bitcoin strategic reserve, And then there will be the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And the Sovereign Wealth Fund will have a mandate to invest in USA-centric, USA-made, USA strategic things. And some of those things will actually include tokens like XRP, like ADA, like Solana, and like all the amazing, amazing, amazing homegrown, beautiful, delicious tokens that are made in the United States. And that is effectively what I'm hearing about the strategic reserve and everything else. There's one token that I do want to speak about ahead of the strategic reserve. And this is a founder that actually is going. So, you know, unlike some other founders, he is actually going, right? He is one of the main founders here, Sergey Nazarov. And the reason why I want to talk about him is because I just think that, look, I'll be honest with you. I've been holding Chainlink for a long time. And there's like a couple of tokens in my portfolio that I have a love-hate relationship with. I love them because fundamentally they're like the best tokens in the fucking world. I hate them because they're more stable than a stable coin, right? Like, I'll give you like a couple of examples. Like ETH. Okay, I don't really like the technology of ETH, but ETH is like a stable coin, right? 𝗙𝗛𝗢𝗡𝗅, probably best technology in the thing, but moves like a stable coin, but has been moving slightly down now. I have the same relationship with Chainlink, right? But I do think that if you want to link it back to like a technology, people are talking about Bitfunded and 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗏. Let's check it out. Let's check out what's going on. We'll check it out in a second. I do think that this token is, in my mind, probably the best token that should benefit from a summit like this and anything else that comes out of a summit like this, right? And the reason why I say that is because if you think about Chainlink, Chainlink is really the one that is playing into all the narratives. Number one, it's an American token. Number two, it's a token with use cases which are very, very, very pertinent to the use cases that are emerging out of this American narrative. Real world assets, real world asset tokenization, bringing securities onto the chain, cross-chain protocols, even MEV, as you'll see in a couple of seconds. Literally, Chainlink is the one token that literally ticks every single one of those boxes. It's American. It's American. It's got partnerships and it's working with SWIFT, the international bank for, you know what SWIFT is working with Chainlink to unlock tokenization on a mass scale. There's massive talk about tokenization. In fact, yesterday, this talk came back again where Coinbase is talking about tokenizing Coinbase stock and putting Coinbase stock on chain. And again, who would benefit the most from there? Well, Chainlink would be one of the biggest beneficiaries of it. Chainlink has a partnership with DTCC. I want you to hear this thing around DTCC because there's a good video here around it. Just listen to this.
Chainlink's role is so very important, is we expect that there'll be many ledgers and there's a need to move value between the ledgers and especially the need to move data between ledgers. So ultimately, to get to true consensus, and remember, DTCC is the consensus model for US markets. We just happen to do it in now.
DTCC stands for the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, and they are the current clearinghouse in the US economy, basically, right?
T+1. Ultimately, to do it in T+0, that means we need to get to common meaning. When transactions settle, we all have to know that they mean the same thing. And if our target is near instantaneous settlement, then data has to agree across all of these ledgers. And this is why our partnership with Chainlink is so very important, because this allows...
They're talking about assets being multi-chain and having to settle instantaneously. And they're kind of saying the only way to do that is Chainlink. Now, look, Chainlink is one of the ways to do it. There are other ways to do it. There are other cross-chain protocols. Wormhole, one which I, of course, really like, 𝗥𝗡𝗅. And we just saw today that Canary Capital filed for an 𝗥𝗡𝗅 ETF. I really think that one day there's going to be a cross-chain narrative, and Chainlink, Wormhole, 𝗥𝗡𝗅, all of these are really, really going to carry on going. The other thing which Chainlink has is they have this MEV play. Now, we'll do a whole show on MEV at some stage, but MEV stands for either maximum or minor extractable value, right? And what that means is how much value can the validators or miners extract out of a transaction, right? And usually what happens is they capture this MEV and they profit from this MEV. But then there's this thing called MEV protection, right? And a lot of protocols are now talking about MEV protection. 𝗙𝗃𝗢𝗏 captures the MEV on behalf of Solana. There's lots of people that capture the MEV the miner extractable value on things like Ethereum. But here, Chainlink has this thing called SVR, which effectively is going to start capturing the MEV and handing it back to the protocols, right? And so that's another narrative which Chainlink actually plays into. I read this tweet, which I think you'll like. It says, Chainlink SVR is literally just a money printing machine. It picks up money sitting on the table from liquidation MEV and redistributes it between DeFi apps and Chainlink. So it basically says, hey, if we can capture the MEV, you can have some and we can have some. It'll make bloody days like this seem sweeter, etc., etc. And a lot of big protocols like Aave are actually starting to implement this already, right? So I do believe that Chainlink is one of these. Like, if you want to talk about like all the tokens that are going to the summit, I think like if I were to place a bet on the one with like, or one of the ones with the best fundamentals, I definitely say Chainlink would be somewhere up there. No guarantees about the chart because, I mean, as I say, this chart behaves much more like a stable coin than anything else. So that is where we are when it comes to the summit. Now, as I said, if you are trading around the summit, I think you could be disappointed. Don't place your trades around the summit. And if you do, then be ready to be unemotional and to sell the news. Because this is like one of those buy the rumor, sell the news events. Be completely unemotional and be ready to sell the news, right? So I do think that reason, actually what I just realized here is that MicroStrategy is also performing well ahead of the summit. So it was before last week, it was like on $240, and now it's flying back up ahead of the summit. This is not as a response to the Bitcoin price. It's ahead of the summit. So maybe something to do with MicroStrategy or whatever else. Anyway, let's look at the other reason why I'm bullish. Now, this is the real reason why I'm bullish. And yeah, this is like the real reason, the real reason why I'm actually bullish. Summit, I'm not bullish about. I'm not bullish about the summit. But the real reason I am actually bullish is it comes down to one chart. But that one chart unravels into multiple charts, which actually tell a big story as to why I think you should probably be a little bit more bullish. And I'll tell you what that chart actually is. I think we have spoken about it before. No points for guessing. It's the chart of this shitcoin over here. Yeah, it's the 𝗙𝗢𝗢. Okay, the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 has absolutely fallen off a cliff. We were speaking about the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 like 3 or 4 days ago at 106 and 107. Here we are 3 or 4 days later, it's at 103. Now, what do we know about the 𝗙𝗢𝗢? When the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 goes down, when the dollar weakens, any asset that is priced against the US dollar actually lands up going up. So generally, when the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 collapses like this, you'd expect that the stock markets, etc., would actually generally go up. Today, I see the Nasdaq is down actually quite bad. But generally, when the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 collapses, it's a good sign for risk assets. Maybe not in the immediate short term, but it's definitely a good sign when it comes to US assets. Now, I'm not bullish about the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 in isolation. I'm actually bullish about the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 in context of this tweet that I made yesterday. And by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter, you are missing the highest alpha account on Twitter. This was voted by an independent survey of like all 85 Banter employees, and every single one of them said that my account is the highest alpha account at Banter. So you really should follow my account at @CryptoManRun. Anyway, yesterday I posted this tweet, which as you can see already got 5,000 likes, which just shows you how everybody loves this tweet, right? Everybody. Josh, have you ever had a tweet with 5,000 likes? No one has. No one has. You know, actually, if you go and go and do an advanced search on Twitter. I once posted a joke in 2017 and it got like 200,000 likes, bro. It's about a son asking his dad about Bitcoin. Go and look for it. That was the peak in 2017. Anyway, the reason why I'm bullish about the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 is I'm bullish about the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 in context of 𝗙𝗢𝗢 down, oil down, therefore inflation down, the M2 money supply up, and the gold price up. And I really want to unpack this because I think that there's a lot to unpack here. What you've noticed is the following. Number one, you've noticed that the 𝗙𝗢𝗢 has fallen off a cliff. 𝗙𝗢𝗢 falling off a cliff means unbelievable good news for risk assets. It's a literal replay of the last time that Trump came into power. This is a chart of exactly what happened the last time that Trump came into power. So you can see it pumped And then we started to come down. In fact, let me actually show you this chart. Let's go on to the weekly of the Dixie. And let's go to, when did Trump come into power? 2016. There we go. I mean, you can kind of see it. There it is, right? That's where Trump came into power. And literally, what you can see is that from 27th of December 2016 until Feb 2018, let's look at what happened to the markets, right? So let's go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and let's go to 2016 on the weekly. If this thing will take us there, this will take us there. Amazing. And you can go to 27, it was 2017, right? Where was it? It was here. Where was it? It was November. Bang. And look what happened after that happened, because the Dixie started to collapse and the markets absolutely started to explode. And we're seeing that thing happen again. You're seeing the following pattern happen. You're seeing the Dixie crashing down hard. You're then seeing oil. And remember, oil is a major driver of inflation, right? If the oil price goes up, production prices goes up, plastic prices go up, transporting prices go up, manufacturing prices go up, etc., etc. Oil is also falling off a cliff. Now, there are two reasons why oil is falling off a cliff. The first reason why oil is falling off a cliff is the official reason that the media is reporting, and that is, of course, that oil is crashing to new lows because OPEC agrees with the production increase for April. And that's true. OPEC did agree to a production increase in April, but also the developments in Russia and Ukraine. Remember, the market is looking forward and the market is saying, hold on a second, something is going on between Russia and Ukraine. I'll show you in a second what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, but just keep this in the back of your minds when talking about oil. So right now, Dixie crashing, oil going down. Trueflation, who we trust the most when it comes to inflation, is forecasting that US inflation is going down to 1.3%. Now, I wanted to know if this was true. And so I phoned my friends at Trueflation and they said, they referred me to this tweet. They said, just go to the tweet. Okay, let's look at this tweet. It says, Trueflation has recorded a sharp drop, 0.73% in US inflation over the past few days. First question is it real? Yes, it's real. What does it mean? Long story short, basically, all these costs have come down. Transportation costs have stabilized. Utilities pricing is cooling. Housing markets have adjusted. Supply chain is normalized. But mainly, consumers are adjusting their behavior. Higher interest rates and economic conditions have slowed demand, reducing price pressure in certain categories, therefore bringing down inflation. So you've got this situation right now where the Dixie is going down, oil is coming down. Oil comes down, inflation and pricing actually comes down. Oil is the leading indicator for inflation. When oil goes up, those products that are manufactured and transported with that oil, then 3 months later get into the stores. So oil goes down today, 3 months from now, those prices will be lower in the stores. But then you've got another chart, which is this chart over here, which says, okay, cool. Oil down, inflation down, Dixie down. But there is another chart, which is the money supply chart. And that is the M2 money supply, which everybody's been talking about. And the one thing we know about the M2 money supply is that when the M2 money supply goes up, then risk assets, namely S&P 500 and Bitcoin, tend to follow. Now, here is the chart of the M2 money supply. The red one is where we're at now. The black line is where we're at in 2016. Here is Colin Talks. Colin Talks makes videos, and he plotted this thing, and he said, look, global M2 money supply predicts Bitcoin price and S&P 500 price to move up approximately March 25th. Okay, now where does he get the March 25th thing? Usually, there is a lag between when the M2 actually ticks up and when the risk assets start to follow. So the M2 doesn't tick up and then the next day the prices go up. Usually the M2 ticks up. But because M2 is money supply, it takes time for the supply of money to actually get into the economy. And so there's usually a lag. Now, you ask yourself, how long is that lag? We did our own little chart here. We said the average was about 77 days, right? That was the number that we said. It's about 77 days. We are about 55 days away. So if you want to use just these like thumbs up, more or less, Someone says, talk FUD, Cardano is going to the White House. Has something changed? No? Just check if there's any announcements, because someone, Explore with Miles, who just paid me £2, bro. He says, Cardano is going. I don't know. Bro, we played the video here, right? Someone says, bullish on Rand's hairdresser. That's good. This is good. Someone says, Charles is invited. Guys, I'm just saying that Charles said in a video, he just said, look, yeah, listen.
We did not get an invitation on Monday.
He said we did not get an invitation on Monday, Tuesday. Anyway, let's go back to the other story. So you got the M2 money supply, and 77 days from when this M2 actually turned, which you can see over here, 77 days ago, would make a turning point for 24th of March. So we said 24th, Colin says 25th, which means that if this plays out, then the worst may be behind us, right? And that is exactly what this is saying here. Like, generally after election cycles, this is what actually happens. On top of that, there's something else that I want to show you, right? Remember we spoke about China stimulus, and everyone kept saying to us that this China stimulus is not really real and China stimulus doesn't really work. Well, I have news for you, right? China has gone full bull stimulus. Full bull stimulus, okay? And they launched the stimulus bazooka, right? And the stimulus bazooka in China is actually working. And the reason why I know that is because I own and I track Chinese equities. And I can show you that since China implemented this bazooka of theirs, their tech, which is a proxy for risk, which is a proxy for crypto, has absolutely exploded. Here is one of the charts over here. Alibaba is up this year, no jokes, 76%. This is a major Chinese stock, is up 76% this year. It's like basically a crypto token. So when I combine this chart over here, Dixie down, oil down, inflation down, M2 up, gold up, I add to that the fact that the M2 money supply is about to turn, and then I sprinkle a little bit of that Colonel Secrets, 11 secret sauce and spices. What is it? The Colonel Sanders' spices, 11 spices. I say, hold on a second. Maybe we are just following a normal election campaign cycle, and the best is yet to come. And that's why, I mean, we continue to be bullish. We're holding good stuff, and we continue to be bullish. I don't want to talk about one more other thing, if you guys will give me the chance to talk here. Don't be sprinkling your secret sauce on the live video. Okay, M2, bro. Every day, Bitfunded rewards, new Bitfunded rewards, but we still haven't received Bitfunded for signing up on Wix. When was there the Wix sign up on Bitfunded? There was... No, it wasn't Wix, sir. There was no sign to, it was Frontrunners. It was Frontrunners, and you had to put your name in the spreadsheet.
That was a few days ago. It's time to Frontrunners.
Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with Wix. I'm wondering why people are talking about Wix here. All right, let's talk about 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗥. Email us at giveaways@cryptobanter.com and let's find out exactly what your issue is. We'll try and fix it. Sandra says the same. Let's find out exactly what that is. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about what else is happening in the world. There's something else happening in the world which I think is worth talking about. So it's got to do with the oil price. Remember we spoke about the oil price, and I said to you that one of the reasons why the oil price is collapsing is because people are talking about the fact that maybe there's going to be peace between Russia and Ukraine, which is kind of weird because, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you guys saw the same videos that I saw where Zelensky was pretty much, I mean, I don't know if you can say he was kicked out of the White House, but I mean, can you say he was kicked out of the White House? I don't know. I mean, I think he was pretty much kicked out of the White House. Anyway, long story short, as we all have been following, there's been like this a thing between him and Trump now, where Trump says, look, we are going to pause military aid to Ukraine. And he's basically said, look, we're not supporting this war with Ukraine anymore, right? And now there was also an announcement that they're going to cut off intelligence sharing with Ukraine. So what is Trump's play here? Trump's play here is to say, look, either you're going to make peace, or brother, I'm going to choke you. I'm going to put my hand here until you can't breathe anymore and you just cannot continue to fight anymore. And then you will make peace, right? That's Trump's play. But there's something going on here, which I almost want to laugh at it, but I know you can't laugh at it because there's people's lives at stake here. But now what the EU is doing is the EU outlines an 800 billion in defense funding after Trump pulls out of Ukraine military aid. Basically, what's going on here is that the EU is saying, hold on a second, if Trump is not going to continue to fund this war, we will fund the war. Okay, that's great. German parties have agreed historic debt overhaul to revamp military and economy so that they can help fight the war. Now, here's the funny part. As Europe started to say this, basically all the bond yields in Europe had to go up. When the bond yields go up, it means that you have to pay more people to invest in your country. Why? Because people are saying, are you absolutely out of your minds to want to take to fight this war if Trump pulls out? This is absolutely, absolutely crazy. But the reason why I bring this up, and it's a long shot, and it's not something that's going to influence prices today or tomorrow or whatever else. But what we're realizing is that as soon as there's the crisis, Germany amended its constitution practically overnight to borrow money for defense. And basically, this is exactly what may happen if they need money to finance a war or to take over the US obligations in the war. Where are they going to get the money from? Well, one place is they can do it by raising the bond rates, which is exactly what we've seen over here, right? Thing is, at some point, you're not going to find buyers for the bonds, and you're going to keep raising and keep raising and keep raising your bond rate, right? Unless you do what Japan did, and you just get your own central bank just to buy your own bonds, right? And that's the easiest way to put money into the economy. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, and I think that this is all bullshit. I think this is all war talk and garbage, and it won't happen. But I'm just trying to show you that ultimately there are many ways where this stimulus and where this money can actually originate from. And this is just one crazy thing that is actually happening, right? And you can see bond rates are starting to go up. Even the Japanese bond rates actually starting to go up. We'll talk about that tomorrow. It's not, I don't think it's something we want to talk about today, but it is something that we definitely should talk about. But that's what 𝗙𝗧𝗢 says. It says, let the bond hunger games begins. If global savers can't or won't buy government bonds, the central bank or commercial banks will print money to buy them instead. Whoever prints first, prints best. And that's another stimulus thing. This is not going to happen between today and tomorrow, but all the other stuff pretty much is happening. The summit is happening tomorrow. The 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡 is crashing today, not even tomorrow. I mean, it's actually more fun watching the... You know what we should do? We should do this, and then we should expand it like this. I've got a great idea for us, right? If you're an ETH bull, what you should be doing is you should be taking the chart of the 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡. You should be taking the chart of 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡. Just click here and click invert. Where do you invert? Invert scale. And then just change the color of your candles, and you can pretend that's the price of Ethereum. And it's basically just going up and up and up. All right, some public service announcements before we go. Public service announcements. The first thing is I said to you yesterday that this is the last time ever that Eric Krown will be doing a free course. As you can see, the website is already changing. It is already saying that the next course is going to be 1,999. You can still unlock it. You got 11 days if you want to do it. I've said to you before, and I'll play it for you again. This is how good Eric Krown actually is.
Yourself to go on. If your strategy has a 60% win rate, that means that if we take 100 trades, we're going to lose about 40 of those. What I would suggest to you is to not analyze your trading performance on a singular trade basis or even a daily trading basis. Analyze it on a weekly or a monthly basis and look at it in its totality so that you can see that over time these things are working in your favor and you can get out of your own way. And look at it in me, like once you take a big loss, you get in your own way, you start to fuck everything up, and then it's like why even try? I totally get that, but it all comes back down to that understanding of, hey, it's imperfect. It's imperfect, and if you expect to lose 40% of the time, don't get emotionally on edge. When you lose 40% of the time, it's going to happen. It's baked into the equation.
So listen, guys, sign up as soon as possible because, as I said to you, it's free for now. It's not going to be free, as you can see in the next cohort. There is a link for you here. Use this link to sign up over here and get in and do this course. The course is amazing. The course will take you less than 10 days from beginning to end. Like, get that. Between less than 10 days from beginning to end if you do the course, and you will be able to trade with, I think, one of the best out there. And I'm not saying that because Eric's not one of our banter hosts. He's out of the band. Well, he's part of the fam, but I mean, he's not in the fam. So go and sign up. There's your link. Also, A lot of you complained that you haven't got you didn't manage to sign up to Frontrunners and get your free Bitfunded. Open until end of business tomorrow. After the Friday banter tomorrow, you can sign up for Frontrunners and then you get a free Bitfunded account valued at $10,000 if you sign up before the end of tomorrow. Yes, sir.
Now they're being processed. Everybody that signed up. If they have any issue,
okay. All the 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗥 and all the Frontrunners are being processed. Any issues, you email giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Now, lastly, this is something that will blow your fucking minds. Okay, listen to this. So I managed to get a Friday banter with the cybersecurity people that tracked Lazarus in the Bybit hack. Okay. Initially, I was just going to record a show, and then I spent time with these cybersecurity experts understanding how Bybit was actually hacked. It'll blow your minds. Okay, the show, they're not like the most amazing dudes. They're not going to give you the best alpha, but when you understand how smart these hackers actually were and what they actually did, it'll blow your mind. And at the end of the show, actually, I recorded it earlier today. And at the end of the show, I asked the guys, I said to them, how do you rate these hackers out of 10? Because these guys are not like crypto hackers, right? These guys are like, not crypto cybersecurity experts. These are like real world cybersecurity experts. And I said to them, guys, how do you rank these guys based on what they did? How do you rank them out of 10? And if you want the answer, you're going to have to tune in tomorrow to find out. See you guys again tomorrow. Till then, trade well, my friends.